Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, J Octopus Technologies Private Limited. So in the previous class, we discussed our first program, right? To print the name of a person and to say welcome to Java world. So in today's session, we'll try to write a one more small Java program. So where we'll try to find out addition of two numbers as well as subtraction of any two numbers. Okay, let's get started, guys. Let me just share my screen. Okay. So if you people remember guys, so in the last class we tried to think to accommodate two programs, right? So first program like where to take the two parameters and print the values, and the second program we thought to do addition or subtraction of any two numbers, right? So we have seen our last program. So we have written a program with name something called as welcome, and where we have taken name and message, and then we try to print the name and message on the console, right? So in today's session, so what we'll try to do, so we'll try to write one small calculator program. Okay, where it will try to take two input parameters and it will try to do the addition and subtraction of both the numbers. Okay guys, okay, let's get started. So let me increase the size little bit guys. Yeah, so just give me 2 minutes of time. So I'll try to write the program, and once we are done with writing about the program, then we'll try to understand the program line by line. Sorry guys, class calculator. Take one more variable here guys. Let me simply say int c is equal to, let me simply say a plus. So instead of void, we'll try to return some value guys here. Okay, fine guys. So we are done with the program. So now let us try to understand the program again step by step. So first I have written one Java program. So the program name I have given it as Caluclator. So as you people aware, like again the entire Java program name we can give entirely in capital letter or we can give entirely in small letter. There is nothing wrong, but the Java standard is like, so whenever you are trying to create any class, so the class always starts with a capital letter and followed by small letters. So as I told you, this is called as a Camlin class. Okay, and in case of Java or whenever you are writing any Java program, so the program should always start with a keyword something called as class. So I am trying to say class and class name or my Java program name, I'm trying to give it as Calculator. Then the class should start with a flower bracket and it should end with a flower bracket. So if you see, when I try to keep my cursor at line number 1 after the flower bracket, so wherever the class is ending, so at that place the flower bracket color it is showing it in red color. So we can identify by seeing this color that the class is starting at line number 1 and it is ending at line number 20. Now inside this class I have taken two variables. So first variable name I have given it as A and second variable name I have given it as B. Okay, so whenever we say variable, so variable is mainly used for storing or holding certain kind of information. So inside a program, whenever you want to store any information or whenever you want to hold some information, then in that scenario we are going to make use of variables, correct? So here A and B are called as variables. Now in front of these two variables, I am trying to keep a data type something called as integer. So if you remember this, in previous class we tried to discuss little bit about string data type, right? So in our today's session we'll try to discuss little bit about integer data type. So we call it as integer int, it is called as a integer data type. So in Java we have a data type with name something called as integer data type. So whenever you make any variable as a integer data type, it allows us to store numerical values without decimals. Okay guys, so whenever you want to store some numerical values without decimals, then in that scenario, we are going to make use of integer data type. So here I have taken two variables. So first variable is A and second variable is B, and I'm trying to specify both of the variables as integer data type. Means we can store inside this A and B variables numerical values without decimals. Okay guys, fine. Now if you see, we have just defined the variables, but we haven't stored any values and we haven't done any operation on these variables. So in order to store and do certain kind of operations, so I have written one method. So method name I have given it as add. Okay, method name I have given it as add. So if you see the method name I have given it as add, and in case of Java, whenever you are trying to write any method, so the method should always start with a small letter. So in case of class, it starts with a capital letter, and in case of methods, it always starts with a small letter. So method name, you can give any method name. So here I have given the method name as add. Now in front of this method name, I am trying to keep a keyword something called as void. Means when the user is going to call to this method or when the user is trying to access to this add method, for the user, this method is not returning any value or it is not returning any value. Got it guys? Then in front of this void keyword, I'm trying to keep an access specifier something called as public. Means whenever you make any method as public, then that method can be accessed from the same class, or if you want to access it from a different class, we can access it. So that is called as a public. Now after the method name in the parenthesis brackets, again I'm trying to take two arguments. First argument is x and second argument is y. So we can call it either as an argument or we can call it as a parameter, right? So I am trying to take two arguments. First argument is x and second argument is y, and both of them are integer type. So what is the meaning of argument guys? So in the after the method name in the parenthesis brackets, how many number of arguments that you are going to keep? means when the user is trying to call to that method, he has to pass those many number of values. So in this scenario, I have kept two arguments. X is first argument and Y is second argument. Means when the user tries to access to this add method, he has to pass two values. Okay, first value will be stored under X variable and second value will be stored under Y variable. Okay, now inside this method, what we are trying to do, I am trying to say A is equal to X. For example, let us understand when the user is trying to call to this add method, he passed two values. Just for example, let's say he passed a value something called as 10 and 20. Then in this scenario, 10 will be stored under X and 20 will be stored under Y. Now, inside this method, what we are doing, we are trying to say A is equal to X. So if you remember, I told you people in Java, always the assignment happens from right hand side to left hand side. Now, if you see right hand side, X is an argument which is holding a value something called as 10. The 10 will be copied into your A variable. And if you see this A variable, we try to define it line number 2. Then in the next statement, again I am trying to say B is equal to Y. So if you see right hand side, Y is an argument which is holding a value something called as 20. Then that 20 is getting copied into your B variable. Then next statement I am trying to say int C is equal to. So I am trying to create one local variable. So we'll try to understand what is meant by this local variable, other stuff in later videos. For today's session, just understand C is a local variable. Okay, int C is equal to, I am trying to say A plus B. Now A is holding a value something called as 10 and B is holding a value something called as 20. So 10 plus 20, 30. So 30 will be stored back into your C. Then next statement I am trying to say system.out.println. So if you remember, I said whenever you want to print some output onto the console, then in that scenario, we need to make use of a statement something called as system.out.println. So I'm saying system.out.println. In double quotes, whatever you are going to keep, that will be printed as it is. So in double quotes, I'm saying addition of two numbers colon. So that will be printed as it is. Along with this information, I want to print some additional information. So that is the reason I'm keeping a plus symbol. Then after plus, I specified C. Now if you see, C is a variable which is holding a value something called as 30, right? So that value will be printed on the console. Okay guys. So similarly like addition, I have written one more method with name something called as subtraction. So I just gave it in a shortcut. So I'm trying to create one more method with name something called as subtraction or sum. Now in front of this method, I'm trying to keep a data type something called as integer. Means when the user is going to call to this subtraction method, for the user, the method is going to return one value or it is returning a value and the value will be in the form of an integer. So here one important point what we need to remember guys. So always remember a method may or may not return any value. So if you keep void keyword, then it will not return any value. Apart from void, if you keep any other data type, means that method is going to return the value of whatever the data type you are trying to specify. So now if you see, I have written one method with name something called as subtraction or sub, and in front of this method, I'm trying to keep a data type something called as integer. Means when the user tries to call to this subtraction method, for the user, this method is going to return one value or it is going to return a result, and the result will be in the form of an integer. And the result will be in the form of an integer. Sorry guys, here I forgot to keep return statement. Okay, fine. It is going to return a value something called as integer. Now in front of this data type, again I am trying to keep an access specifier something called as public. Means again this method can be accessed from the same class or it can be accessed from the different class. Okay guys, then after the method name, again in the parenthesis brackets, I am trying to take two arguments. First argument as X and second argument as Y, and both of them are of type integer data type. So means when you pass an arguments into the method, then it expects some kind of input from the user. Now in case of subtraction method, it is expecting two inputs, or it is expecting two values from the user, and both the values should be of type integer data type. So for example, let us assume again, when the user is trying to call to this subtraction method, he passed two values, first value as 20 and second value as 10. Now first value will be stored under your x and second value will be stored under your y. Now again inside the method, what we are trying to do, we are trying to say a is equal to x. Now if you see right hand side, x is an argument which is holding a value something called as 20. Then that 20 will be copied into your a. Okay, when it copies that 20 into a or a, earlier in a we try to store a value something called as 10. Now that 10 will be replaced with 20. Then next statement I am trying to say b is equal to y. Now once again, if you see, y is a argument which is holding a value something called as 10, and that 10 will be copied into your b. Then in the next statement, I am saying int c is equal to a minus b. Now a is holding a value something called as 20 and b is holding a value something called as 10. So 20 minus 10, 10. The result will be stored back into your c. Then once the result got stored back into the c, here I am trying to say return c. Okay, so when you say return c, now from wherever this method is going to be called to that particular place, it is returning whatever the value it got stored inside c, that value it will try to return. Okay, fine guys. Now let us try to understand the real flow of our application or our Java program. So whenever you try to compile and whenever you try to run your Java class, okay, always remember guys, when you are trying to run the Java program, first always the control goes to the main method. As I told you in the previous class, for few days, let us try to keep the main method syntax as it is: public static void main string array of args. So whenever you try to compile and run your Java program, first the control will come to your main method and it starts executing the main method. Now inside the main method, what we are doing, the first step we are trying to say, we are trying to create an object to our class. So what is your class name? Class name is Caluclator. So I am trying to say Caluclator. So reference variable, you can give any reference variable. So here I am trying to give CA, reference variable name as CA is equal to new Caluclator. So we are trying to create an object to your class. Now, whenever we try to create an object to the class, now inside your class, what are all the variables you are having, or how many variables you are having, and how many methods you are having, all the variables and all the methods will be loaded into them. Getting my point, guys? So whenever you try to create an object to the class, inside a class, how many variables you are going to have and how many methods you are going to have, all of them are going to be loaded into the memory. Once they got loaded into the memory, you can access to those variables or you can access to those methods with the help of a reference variable. Now I want to access to this add method and subtract method. So how can we access? So we know the method names and we know the reference variable. So I'm trying to say CA dot, what is the method name I want to access? I want to access to the add method. So I'm trying to say CA dot add. Now if you see this add method, it is taking two arguments. Means when the user calls to this method, user has to pass two values and both the values should be of type integer type. So I am saying CA dot add and I am passing the first value as 100 and second value as 200. From line number 17, the control will transfer to your line number 3. Okay, from line number 17, the control will go to line number 3 and it starts executing the add method. When it is trying to execute the add method, in X, it will try to store a value something called as 100 and in Y, it will try to store a value something called as 200. Now, once it goes inside the method, so inside the method, what we are trying to say, A is equal to X. Now, if you see right hand side, X is an argument which is holding a value something called as 100. Now that 100 will be copied into your A variable. And if you see this A variable, we defined at line number 2. Then next statement I am trying to say b is equal to y. Again, right hand side, y is an argument which is holding a value something called as 200, and that 200 will be copied into your b variable. So if you see this b variable, we try to define it line number 2. Then in the next statement, I am trying to say int c is equal to a plus b. Now a is holding a value something called as 100 and b is holding a value something called as 200. So 100 plus 200, 300. The result 300 will be stored back into your C. Then next statement we are trying to say system.out.println. In double quotes, we are simply trying to say addition of two numbers. It will be printed as it is on the console. Along with this information, I want to print some extra information. So keeping a plus symbol. Then I specified C. Now C is a variable which is holding a value something called as 300. So that 300 will be printed on the console. So after executing line number 7, there are no more statements to execute. Means your entire add method got executed. Now, after executing the entire add method from line number 8, the control will go back to your main method. Now, line number 17 has executed completely. Now, in line number 18, what we are trying to say? I am trying to say int z is equal to ca dot sub. So we are trying to call to the subtraction method. I am trying to say ca dot sub, and I am passing. So if you see subtraction method, it is expecting two inputs and both the inputs should be of type integer data type. So I am passing value something called as 2000. First value I am trying to pass it as 2000 and second value I am trying to pass it as 1024. So from line number 18, the control will go back to your line number 9, or the control will jump to line number 9 and it starts executing the subtract method. When it is executing the subtract method, in X, it will try to store a value something called as 2000, and in Y, it stores a value something called as 1024. Then inside this method, what we are trying to say, A is equal to X. Now again, right hand side X is an argument, which is a holding a value something called as 2000, and that 2000 will be copied into your A. Next statement I am trying to say B is equal to Y. Now again, right hand side, Y is an argument which is holding a value something called as 1024, and that 1024 will be copied into your B variable. Then in the next statement, I am trying to say int C is equal to A minus B. Now A is holding a value something called as 2000 and B is holding a value something called as 1024. So 2000 minus 1024. So the result will be stored back into your C. Then once it has been stored back into the C, next statement I am trying to say return C. Now whenever you say return C, so whatever the value it got stored inside C, that value is going to be written from where this method is getting called. Now if you see, the subtraction method is getting called from main method at line number 18, correct? So here, now from here, the control will go back to here. Now when you are saying C dot subtract, so 2000 minus 1024, the result will be coming over here. Okay, the result will be coming here. So you are going to get some value, and that value we are again storing back into Z. Then after now entire line number 18 got executed. Then in the next statement I am trying to say system.out.println. In double quotes I am trying to say subtraction of two numbers. So along with this message, I want to print some additional information, again keeping a plus symbol, and then I specified Z. Now whatever the value it got stored inside Z, that value it is going to be printed. Okay, so here for the first method I try to keep it as void, and for the second method I am trying to keep it as an integer. So main thing what I want to teach you in this program also, guys, so remember, a method may or may not return a value, or a method may or may not return any result. So if you keep void, it is not going to return any result. So apart from void, if you keep any other data type, then in that scenario, the method is going to return some value or some result. Okay, guys, fine. So let us try to save this program and then we'll try to compile it, and then we'll try to execute it. So let me take the class name, Control C, and then let me say Control S. So if you people remember, under desktop, we try to create one folder with name something called as Core Java Tutorial, right guys? Where it went? Yeah. Core Java Tutorial. If you see under desktop, I created a folder with name something called as Core Java Tutorial. So let's go inside this folder and then let us try to paste the program. So calculator and extension should be .java. So I'm trying to say .java. Then let me take save type as all types and then simply say save. Now the program got saved successfully. Now let us try to compile it and execute it. Okay, so already my command prompt is open, but anyhow, let's try to open the command prompt again. So now in my desktop, I have this Core Java Tutorial folder. So let's go inside this folder. Then on the top address bar, just simply say CMD. So it will try to take you to the command prompt. Okay, let us try to clear the screen, CLS. Now, what is the command to compile your program, guys? Java C space your program name. So I'll say Java C space. What is the program name? Calculator, right, guys? So let me say calculator.java and then let's press the enter button. So we did not get any errors, means the program got compiled successfully. Now, once the program got compiled successfully, what is the next step? The next step is we need to run the program. So in order to run the program, the command is Java space your class name. Class name is calculator. So I am trying to say Java space calculator. Now let's press the enter button. Now if you see addition of two numbers, it is trying to display the output as 300, and subtraction of two numbers, it is trying to display the output as 976. Got it, guys? Fine. Okay, guys. So here in this program, I have written the methods like add and subtract. As a homework for you people, you people can try for multiplication and division. Okay, guys. So you people can try in the similar fashion. You people can create one method for multiplication, and you people also can create one method for division. Okay, guys. So here one more point what you people need to remember. In case of a division, so we cannot use this division symbol, guys, because this will not give you the remainder. So in Java, whenever you want to get the remainder, then it's always advisable to use the percentage symbol. So we call it as a modulus operator. So use this percentage symbol or use this modulus operator, then only it will try to give you the remainder. So you people can try it as your homework, guys. So if you want to download this program, or if you people want to copy this program, so what you people can do, guys, like you people can go to my GitHub account. So my GitHub account, it is like github.com/bzgiridhar163. Under that, I created a repository with name something called as Core Java Tutorial. So you can find this program under this place. Okay, guys. From here, you people can download this program. For latest news or for latest updates on new batches, I mean like upcoming batches and any job openings and any job placements, okay, placement assistance, you people can always follow us on our Facebook page, guys, Java Online Training, or otherwise you people can reach out to us on our website joctopus.co.in. Okay, guys. So you people can reach us on Facebook, or you people can reach us on our website joctopus.co.in, or still if you people want to follow us, you people can follow us on Instagram, like instagram.com/joctopus.technologies. Okay, guys. Fine, guys. Bye bye for today. Then we'll see you on tomorrow's session.